I thought I'd do this and brief video because it matters. And I was listening to David Masters fill in on the Foundation radio show. Um, just to clarify things, whoops, real quick. Um, the Foundation was my church. I mean, it's not, just for those who don't know, it's not like a church. It's a different kind of church, like Roy told me once. It's just a different kind of church. It's like a radio ministry mainly that has gone across the whole world and taught people the real way to pray silently, the best way, because it even says in the scripture we don't need to ask God and talk to God and tell him, what we need. Um, we can make requests, I know, obviously, but we need to separate from the evil in our mind. Evil works through the knowledge of good and evil. It from the original fall. That's the way it operates. You guys can know Roy clearly saw that. People see that throughout the ages, that evil talks to us in our head, and we have to separate from all that thinking, the words and everything that mimic the truth. It actually will mimic what you see. It will mimic, and it'll talk to you in your own voice. And we tend to talk to ourselves and then talk to other people, and that's all demonic activity. But it doesn't seem like it for many years, and then we tend to make friends with it because it fills our time and it makes us feel not lonely. But when it turns bad and it turns into doubt, then it gets its claws in and does damage. So when I hear, of course, Roy passed away, and we have Jan Masters, Alan Masters, and David Masters doing the show, but they're doing a really poor job of it overall. They're like talking out of two sides of their mouths most of the time. And I'm going to give you a for instance, and I'm not doing this so anybody will judge them. I don't want anybody to judge anybody. I have no right to look down at these people. But when Roy saved my life and so many others, and I was on a wrong path originally as a drug addict, and I started meditating when I was like 15 years old, actually being mentored by a homosexual, which I didn't know at the time. But isn't it amazing how God will use whoever he can? But I love Roy, I love the foundation, and I'm honoring him by doing this. Like Dave, I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about, how they're talking out of two sides of their mouths, and they're deceiving people because they haven't really got what they're saying they have. David was saying today, talking about, and I'm going to relate it all to our president too next, and you'll see how it ties in. It's really important. Um, and people of common sense see it. Um, so David was saying that he was rightly saying that we need to be objective and not in our thoughts, and not, excuse me, sorry, not figuring things out. Sorry. But then he corrected himself and he said, well, but some things we do have to figure out. And this is the sort of thing I hear from Alan and Jan too. They equivocate on the real objective truth of living by intuition. And it's like Roy said, it's like knowing without knowing why you know. It's like you just see like ideas, revelation, and there's no words attached to it. So when David said that, he's talking a lot of truth, and then he says, well, but some things you do have to figure out. And then Alan, I heard him say the other day, well, you can go into your thoughts. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes there's good thoughts you can go into, even though there's dangerous thoughts there. See, and then that's how you can become brave. See, that's another double talk. No, you don't go into your thought. I mean, we do, but it's not a good thing. There's not good thoughts and bad thoughts. There's good sounding thoughts and bad sounding thoughts that turn into doubt and evil and good, and it's all the same MO. And then there's intuition. But they don't really live by that. And I'm going to give you why I say that too, because they wouldn't be equivocating in this way. They would see clearly and make the distinct difference, just like Roy did. And no, this doesn't make me a Roy bot, Jan, because once I had a debate with her about this, and she just, tried to turn it into I'm a Roy bot. I'm living from the same source, thank God, that people like Roy live from. And it's taken a lot of mistakes, a lot of illusions, like we all go through. But when Roy finally, patiently corrected me, and that I really hadn't crossed over when I thought I had, I still had some buried, anger. I didn't actually see it, and I didn't really agree, but I didn't know totally, but I just didn't see it. So then I saw it later when I was leaving the meeting, and it was a blessing. And Alan's listening. That's good. Alan Taylor. Fabian, you are a Pharisee. Oh, Pharisee. If Jesus came back today, you would crucify him again. You dishonor my Father's teaching. You sit in your little apartment, armchair quarterback every show. It's a shame. Okay, well, I'm glad you're listening, Alan, because I'm honoring your father, because you guys are missing it. And I just gave an example of how you and David speak out of two sides of your mouth. It's different than what Roy brought to us. And I'm going to give you some further examples of that. Now, I'm not speaking against Roy Masters. I'm not speaking against the foundation. I'm defending it. Excuse me. You, Alan, have taken it off course. And anybody could hear it. Anybody can hear it. Your energy is way off. And I'm going to give you guys another good example of that. A Pharisee is like, why? Because see, that's how much you believe you're really on track, that because I see that you're not, and I'm patiently doing a video about it, and I don't do very many. I do them on occasion. Because of that, you call me a Jesus hater. See, that's how deluded you are. That's shameful, Alan. Okay, please do turn me off. And also, I have never, ever called Alan bad names, evil names, like he's done to me. I don't think about that. I'm not mad at him about it. But he's calling me a Pharisee, yet he goes on the air because I disagreed about Trump for reasonable reasons, consistently, only when he was being praised unduly, which is very unlike the maverick Roy. For that, I was called all kinds of nasty names on air, one day by name. So who's the Pharisee, Alan? So I want to give another example of why I'm calling you guys hypocrites, and that's what you are. You're talking out of two sides of your mouth. In that, we have Trump now in office, and there's no way in heaven and hell that your father, Roy, would have supported him once he switched over to the medical mafia. He supported masking. He wore a mask, which we all know is insane, and it makes you more ill, collects germs, doesn't stop viruses. He promoted lockdowns, which is totally insane, which did so much damage. It killed like over 1 million small businesses. Completely, he promoted it all around the country. Okay, when it was so bad, and it wasn't COVID that did that. It was the insanity of the lockdowns and of the fear-based, and he could have stopped it, and he didn't. Okay, so We had about 2.5 million jobs lost when he left office because of that insanity. It was the most horrible thing I ever saw happen in our economy, all by fear and panic and lies when we had simple cures. We all, even Trump spoke of some cures, and yet he goes along and he knows that this thing isn't that bad. It was a manipulated flu virus, basically, is what it sounds like. So anyway, so we have that happened. Okay, then that set up all the fear and panic to get everybody clot shotted, and I have to be careful with my words, which he totally went along with. Nobody wants to blame him because you guys, again, you speak out of two sides of your mouth, and I'm not talking bad about the foundation. The foundation that Roy created is awesome. His videos are awesome. He's anyone can find him. Please, you guys, go to, if you're not already, do the um, Be Still exercise by Roy Masters on YouTube, and it will help set you free. And don't be a hypocrite like these three that I mentioned. And I hope they wake up. But see, they're too busy. Ellen is too busy looking down at me, calling me a Pharisee, telling me that I would crucify Jesus. He has such a high opinion of himself that I am a Jesus hater because I see how wrong he is talking about thoughts, that some thoughts are good, some are bad. That's opposed to the meditation. It's opposed to what Roy spoke about. He does it a lot. He talks about, I'm thinking about this, I'm going to think about that. David said, some things you got to figure out. Jan told me some, or said on air, some imagination is good, like kids when they do imagine. No, that's equivocating, you guys. That's harming the foundation and the message. Demons are, this is warfare every day, as you guys know, on people's minds. So you guys are you're it's a precise way that Roy has, that the Bible has, that is real. And you guys are riding both sides because you're not there, but you're talking like you are. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it out of hatred. I'm not even actually mad at Alan. I'm not mad at any of them. So I don't know what he's talking about that I would, you know, he's a little bit off his rocker. But anyway, so as a further example of what I'm saying, that David, Jan, and Alan constantly, and David did it today, compare Trump as a biblical figure, that God put his hand on him, that he is the man to turn around America, that, all the good hates him. When, okay, they do that a lot. And that's why I've been banned. I haven't been banned from all FHU platforms when I've supported the foundation for 35 years with a lot of money. And me and Roy got along fine and very well. I saw Roy, maybe a year before he passed away, or a little sooner than that, tell Alan, you don't have love. And he was right. And Alan combated him. Again, I'm not saying this out of any hatred. Alan's in denial. All three of them are. And it's so bad that he has to now, call me a Pharisee, and that I would, armchair quarterback. Well, I'm not an armchair quarterback. As a matter of fact, if you want to call in, and I'm reading your stuff, call in 626. Well, I can't because I'm doing this on my phone. Yeah, but you can, call me armchair quarterback. That's fine. I'm out in the arena. I don't sit in my apartment and don't do anything. I go to protest. I speak up. I am honest. I'm honest about this. Do you think that I would prefer to do this? No. No. Of course not. I'm moved to do this because you guys are deceiving people unwittingly, and because you're so prideful, you won't be corrected out of it. Just like you wouldn't be corrected when Roy told you that you didn't have love. And I saw it. I saw it at the meeting, and you absolutely wouldn't have it. And I didn't really see what Roy saw, but I know he's right now with dealing with you. Absolutely, he was. And so, as a way to demonstrate what I'm talking about, so you have Trump now, who recently did a press conference, which I'm sure Alan Taylor or Alan Masters, all you guys have seen, where he paraded out three of his wealthy billionaire scumbags, and yes, I'm calling them scumbags because that's what they are. And they're talking about, and they're building now, they're probably done with some of them, massive computer centers for AI. Okay, massive AI tied to cancer curing more mRNA when we know there's millions of people around the globe, if not more, that have been killed by it. We have proven, and I want you guys to please go to the links that I have in there, and I'll put some more too. We all know they're devastating. They go into the DNA, they change, make the body produce a spike protein poison. Now they're talking about more. Trump paraded them out. More mRNA as though it's going to cure cancer. They're lying again. Again. There's nothing good. Everyone knows. All these doctors that are truth doctors know the devastation of them. As another example of how you guys are you're trying to ride the truth with your words, but on the reality, you're riding evil, because that is evil to go and promote more of it. To say there you're gonna, and he was right there with them. You can't deny it. And we know the huge failure operation Warp Speed was and is, and you guys don't have love enough to even talk about it anymore, because it makes your man of God look bad. Not only look bad, is very wicked, because now he's proposing more. So what do you guys do about that? I had a debate with you, and you said, well, maybe he's keeping his powder dry, right? Well, apparently not, because now we're going to go for more. And what do you say about that now, Alan? Nothing, because you don't care, because you guys just stick to your post that he's a man of God, and you deny the extreme evil of what other things that he's doing now too, and the new proposed mRNA. There is no way that that is anything but pure evil. You guys don't care. You guys just don't give a shit, because you don't talk about it, and all you do is bring up him as, so this is good. This is how you've ruined the FHU, because you speak out of two sides of your mouth, and it's shameful. And I don't care if you judge me and you call me a Pharisee, because you're full of baloney. You're in your head. You're listening to a false conscience. You're constantly talking about, I thought about this. I think of, we're not supposed to live as thinking things out. Jesus, I just did a video on that the other day. I'll link it. Jesus said, don't think about what you're going to say in advance, what you're going to eat, clothe yourself with. We live by intuition. David Masters, if we don't know, we don't try to figure some things out. We just wonder, and then the answer drops in. Boom. I have this invention that's gone through so many revisions, and I've screwed up a lot and stuff, and I didn't know how to do a certain thing, and I was even at the hardware store, and I just didn't know how to do it, and then boom, it just appeared. I was looking at parts, and then there it was. Like I didn't go into my head to try to figure it out. God will always supply the vision, the answer, or not. Then maybe we shouldn't know, or we shouldn't know if we don't get it. So there's a real deception going on, and it's not just at the FHU. It's almost the entire Christian churches that are been deceived in this great delusion that's written about in Thessalonians. And you guys really need to wake up. Keep on judging me if you wish. Call me whatever, Alan. You're really out to lunch. That's fine. But the truth always comes out, and it's going to. And I'm not angry. Thank God. People can hear that. You're a real tempter, actually. You're not a kind man. And if you were, you wouldn't have acted the way you have with me and then come on here and call me a Pharisee. That's absurd. Um, and then, as another example of your guys' insanity of still, see, what you do is, we all know that mRNA is a devastating mass killer. I've done videos, many other people have done videos that shows that proves that doctors have proven that it makes people detectable by Bluetooth. That's not even a conspiracy. It actually is happening. So to me, it very much looks like the mark, and that's why they need more, because they want to get all people marked so they can track them, and they're going to use a money system through it. There's a patent on it. I mean, but see, what you guys do is all that evil, you just put it aside. It's like out of sight, out of mind, and then you still promote Trump. You separate the two. But that's not logical. That's not common sense. That's not love. That man is still pushing for more, and he knows what he doesn't know anything now. Still, we've got video, we've got eyewitness testimony, we've got open affairs that has 38,000 people killed. Oh, okay. It doesn't prove that they were killed, but it has the highest deaths and injuries of any V word throughout history, and theirs was instituted as a stop warning sign for that by law. So all of a sudden now, you guys just don't even talk about it, but you still talk about like he's the man of God. It's impossible for him to be the man of God with that. And massive tariff taxes now, creating chaos, acting like tough guy. Get this straight. Tariffs are taxes. That's what they are. The taxes, the people pay the taxes because the companies aren't going to suck it all up. So it's a tax on the people. It's a consumer sales tax. Now you have China and the BRICS nations all, they're basically saying, screw you, America. They're all aligning, going to do their own trading and stuff. Trump is once again devastating our economy. It's starting a little bit, and it's gonna get much worse because he to me it's purposeful, because common sense would know not to do this, to do it with love. Like if you're gonna renegotiate tariffs, do it rightly. And throughout history, and I put a link in the description, you can see the history of tariffs and high tariffs and Smoot-Hawley, etc. It causes less jobs. It causes rising prices for people. It's not what he says. And it's clear he's doing evil to me again, because he lied about the excessive tariffs that the other countries were that are paying. Everyone knew it. He's flat out lying about that. His numbers were way off. That is evil to do that to your trading partners. That shows you have a malevolent reason for doing it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do that. What he does, he maligns other nations. They're ripping us off, etc. There's a little bit of truth to some of it. Most of it is lies. To malign them, to get the right wing, like you guys, you dummies, to believe that he's doing is right, and really it's going to cause, and it's starting to cause, devastation. People have already lost billions of dollars. They're losing their savings in the stock market, their retirement accounts. It's already devastating people. And Trump previously was like all in about, he knew the stock market as an indicator of, success and wealth. Oh, but now all of a sudden, the story's changed. You guys, you see, that's the thing. And now he's deporting people, and I understand. And this is can be researched. I just heard this today on a YouTube, a pretty large YouTube site, that Biden actually exported more illegal aliens than Trump has so far. Per month, he's done more, but he didn't do it in a crazy way. Trump is actually breaking the law now. The Supreme Court has put their foot down. Um, I put a link in there to an honest 60-minute report that like 2/3 of those people that have been, or more, that have been sent out to Cecot, which is a real concentration camp. It's horrible. Even murderers here in our country, you don't treat them like that because they're still humans. God still made that human, and you don't treat them like cattle like that, because some of them may repent and still it's not right. And you put all the guards in a position of looking down and judging them and beating them and God knows what. That's not Catholic, Mr. Bekuli. That's evil. And what Trump has done, so as I was saying, about 2/3 of them don't even have a criminal record, and they went back and they researched it. This isn't like willy-nilly reporting. They didn't even have gang membership, a lot of them, and they got sent right to that place. I don't feel sorry for people, but I feel empathy. That is pure evil. No president has ever done anything like that. And he lied to do it. They're still lying and saying that, calling this law that we're at war with that's if you're really at war, you can ship people out. And then you don't ship them to another country's concentration camp. But you guys, Jan, David, Alan, you're so attached to what you've promoted since Roy has passed away, and sticking to that, yes, he's an evil man, and I'm not going to say more. It's even worse than that, but I'm not going to go into it here. That you all these things don't matter to you, and it's not just you. It's like you guys are gutless. Actually, you're cowards because you don't want to stand. You don't want to stand up, because when that's what Roy did. When Roy saw he was wrong, like he promoted Jesse Lee Peterson for so many years, and I helped him see that Jesse was a phony. Roy made an adjustment. It's the same thing with Trump, but it's like way worse than the corruption that Jesse is. Way worse. We're talking about millions of people suffering turbo cancers and deaths, and now you want some more mRNA. That's way beyond the homosexuality and using young men for sex in his organization that's proven at Bond. And Roy didn't even know about that, but he knew finally that Jesse was not what he was saying he was. This is that times 1,000, and you guys just stick to it because you don't love the truth. And it's not just Alan, Jan, and David. And I'm glad Alan chimed in. Nobody else did, and that's okay. So I don't have anything else to say. If anybody wants to chat in, please do. Um, I was gonna give my number out, but I didn't realize I set this up on my phone, so I had to do it on my phone because I was gonna invite people to call, but next time. Anyway, I hope my sincere hope was that this will help some people and see that they still need to stick with Roy as a wonderful wonderful example, and his videos are all over YouTube. But the foundation of human understanding, it still has a lot of most of Roy's stuff, but under their tutelage, it's gone, it's shipwrecked, and they're content in looking down and judging me as the evil one, because as I described, I won't go over it again, why that's happening. So anyway, God bless you, and it's been almost exactly 30 minutes. All right, I got to figure out how to turn this off without messing it up. And thanks for listening. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to go down.